You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
So happy to be here with you today on part 2 of our Cabral HouseCalls, where we will be answering more of our community's questions today. This is a special episode for me. I actually just finished up a almost week-long book tour in LA and in California, and really enjoyable time. I'm about to leave for my flight in about a half hour from now, but I wanted to be able to get in these questions. I just really feel like the whole week, things just started to come together, meaning that I just felt like a lot of the people I was being interviewed by truly understood the concept of the rain barrel effect, that they had taken the time to read the book, that they understand that the body doesn't get sick overnight. It doesn't become overweight overnight, and you don't start to feel lethargic and like blah overnight. What happens is gradually over time, these things start to build up. But the problem is we don't necessarily pay attention to them as they're building up, but only when things start to go really wrong. And then we get diagnosed with the disease, right? We put a name on something so then we can treat with a medication or some type of pharmaceutical-based intervention. But the problem is that did nothing then to reverse the way that you got here in the first place. So it's really been an amazing week for me. I can't say that I've had a week like this in quite some time, where I just felt like it was a big breakthrough. It was one of those things where I've been trying for quite some time, right? The book just came out a few weeks ago, but this is something that I've been trying to preach and talk about for quite some time, that I think we made some headway. So I'm really excited about that. I know that you're sharing the message with your friends, family, coworkers, and I can't thank you enough for that. So let's get into now some of our community's questions where we can help them and give them a little bit more of maybe a bio-individual approach, a little bit more based on their specific needs. Always happy to do that and excited to get started. So Judy is up first. Judy is asking, what brand of creatine do you recommend? And do you recommend a certain amount based on body weight and goals, or should I follow manufacturer's instructions? All right, Judy, this is a great question. I've done a show on creatine before. You can go to stephencabral.com/podcasts. Yes, that's it. And then in the search bar, you can type in creatine. And just remember, a lot of these questions have been answered in the past. And we put that little search bar in there for today's episode is 814, right? 814. So yesterday, if you didn't check out the community's questions there, that's 813. And every day what I do is I put the show notes. I put all the links in that specific day. So if I talked about a lab or a recommendation or a product such as creatine, which we're going to talk about now, I'll put it right in there. So today, go to stephencabral.com/814, and I will put in my creatine recommendation. I am recommending Pure Encapsulation's creatine monohydrate. I don't think that you have to get overly concerned about the company that you're using here, but it should be creatine monohydrate. Now, the reason why, again, I prefer functional medicine brands, such as the one that I formulate for Equilibrium Nutrition, or a Thorne, or a Pure Encapsulations, or Integrative Therapeutics, is because that they do third-party testing. So all of my products, right, all the ones that I formulate for Equilibrium Nutrition, as well as the ones that I just named, all of those companies do third-party testing. They do it, so it's independent testing, meaning that someone tests all of my products. And why? Why would I want to do that? Well, I want to make sure that what's in there is actually in there. And I also want to make sure that there's no contaminants, no heavy metals, no molds, nothing like that. And so that's because I use these products myself. So I use them in my practice, but I also use them with my 2 young girls. I use them with my wife, with myself, my parents. So everybody uses these products. So they have to be the best of the best. So I'm going to link it up. It's called Creatine Powder by Pure Encapsulations. And it's just pure creatine monohydrate, literally pharmaceutical grade. And that doesn't mean it's a pharmaceutical. It just means that it's 100% pure. What I recommend for most people is 5 grams. All right. You can take it essentially any time of the day. If you listen to my episode on creatine, you'll understand that there's a way that you can actually do a loading phase. Now, the loading phase is typically 20 to 25 grams per day in divided doses, all at 5 grams at a time. And you are doing that for approximately 1 week to 7 days. That is going to supersaturate the body which means that your cells will uptake a lot more water, especially the muscle tissues. So what happens is the sarcoplasm inside the muscle tissue starts to swell. Now, this is a good thing if you want to look more muscular. You want to look a little bigger, of course, but also it helps to increase cellular ATP. And that means your body's ability to produce something called adenosine triphosphate, which is your body's ability to produce energy when under stress from like an anaerobic based metabolism. It really can be a great product. I'll enjoy using it maybe once a year. I like to use it in the spring, maybe right before the summer. And that's because it just plain works. That's the thing. And it is safe. If you have kidney-based issues, you have other issues, well, you'll always want to check, of course, with your healthcare practitioner. Easy for me to say. But for the most part, it can help you get stronger. It can help you lift more weight. It can make you look a little bit more muscular. Any one of those things. I mean, it helps with aerobics as well. I mean, there's so much. So creatine monohydrate is kind of like one of the original supplements, right? And it's been used in the Olympics since way back, I believe it was in the 60s. And it became much, much more popular in the 80s to 90s and has a lot of research behind it. And again, it does help with aerobic activity as well. So super simple, but most people, you can just take 5 grams a day and you can use it for like anywhere between, I would say, 6 and 10 weeks. And then you can just come off of it as well with no harm. And yes, you might lose some of that water retention, but you will keep any muscle you put on because of the increase in muscular strength. Again, I did a whole episode on how to take creatine if you want to take it with a fruit juice, with a little bit of sea salt to help better uptake creatine. That actually does work better. But for a lot of people, they don't want to put on any body fat. If you're an ectomorph, of course, a hard gainer, then you doing a little bit of the grape juice like I talked about before, the wild blueberry or anything like that will help with, again, some sea salt will help, especially after the workout, to take the creatine to soak that right up into your muscles. It works extremely well. But again, it's all bio-individual based. If this is a popular topic, just literally let me know. Let me know on Instagram or let me know at cabralsupportgroup.com. And I'll do a whole episode on creatine supplementation if you want. I will literally go directly into the science. I'm happy to do that. Maybe I'll do it as a Friday review one day as well if that's what people want to hear. But again, I want to do what people want to hear. Okay, so I'll link up my recommendation in the show notes today at stephencabral.com/814. That's where all the questions for today will be as well. So Cristi is up next. It's a longer question. Again, for the longer questions, I'll read part of it, but you can always read the whole question at episode 814. All right, Cristi's asking, hi, Dr. Cabral. I continue to appreciate all your helpful information, and I've been trying to listen to all the back episodes of your podcast. I'm wondering what you have to say regarding bruxism or gum recession. My conventional dentist claims that I grind my teeth at night, which is causing cracks in my teeth that he showed me on x-ray. He also said this is the cause of gum recession, as where my previous conventional dentist said that I simply brush too hard and never said anything about this in particular. It seems as if this dentist recommends a Mouthguard to almost everyone that comes into practice. Every time I get my teeth cleaned, I get a headache or my mouth sore in some way. When I wear the Mouthguard, I have a hard time sleeping. I did not use the Mouthguard for a period of time. When I had a cold, I tried to wear it again. The next morning, my teeth had moved. My bite was different. It took a couple days for it to come back to normal. Suffice to say, I'm no longer wearing the Mouthguard. I'm trying to slow down stress, trying to increase exercise, meditation, use CBD oil, but I have no way of knowing whether or not I'm grinding my teeth at night, and my efforts are stopping the problem. So I know what you're asking, and I'd like to help you with this answer. So there's a couple things. Your teeth can become cracked because of so many different reasons. A lot of the times it is you being stressed, you being in, and again, what I talk about a lot is the sympathetic nervous system. So what does that mean? Well, you get a lot more dry mouth. With being in the fight or flight, the eyes get more dry, the throat gets more dry. You get kind of like that dry cough in the back of the throat. As the mouth gets more dry, then the teeth get more dry. Remember, dehydration causes the teeth to dry out as well, and it can start cracking the teeth. Also, demineralization is a big one as well. Well, when your body is starting to be demineralized because of stress, meaning that the same reason your bones would become demineralized, your teeth will, your body will pull calcium. It will pull all the different minerals it needs, phosphorus, from the teeth as well. So what we first have to look at is a deeper root cause level. All right, we need to look at you hydrating your body. So again, I always recommend the smoothie in the morning. I recommend the water when you wake up. Use the daily fruit and vegetable blend in it if you want or not, whatever works for you. Put a pinch of sea salt in there, though, to get a little bit more minerals, a little bit more electrolytes. I want you to maybe try the full spectrum magnesium, which you would use, even if you just wanted to use it to start, you would do, let's say, 1 capsule at each meal. And again, I can't give you specific recommendations. I'm just giving general recommendations. And then I would do the deep sleep protocol at night, or I would at least use the magnesium citrate, the natural calm at night. I'm going to put all of those in my show notes for you right now. and then I'll be able to link them up for you in the show notes. So of course you can just go right there. All right, so that's going to help a little bit with the sympathetic nervous system, the adrenal soothe, taking 1 capsule at each meal or taking what most people do, which is 1 at breakfast, 1 at lunch, and 2 at dinner. The adrenal soothe will help to calm the nervous system. Again, would I recommend testing first? Of course I would. I would do the hair tissue mineral analysis and the thyroid hormone adrenal lab. That's what I would do to really look at stress for sure. And then gum recession? Well, gum recession can be so many different things. You can get gum recession just because you're low on certain vitamins like vitamin C. So I have a feeling that, and again, I hate to say this, but I do have experience with this, and it's too bad because before I knew any of this stuff about biological dentistry, I went to a dentist and literally calls it prevention dentistry, something like that. Sorry, I can't think of the exact name right now. But literally, they're always trying to drill holes in your teeth, preventively stop cavities, and you want to keep everything in your mouth exactly how it is if possible. Of course, I understand if there's a cavity, we need to fix that. But really, you need to leave the mouth and the teeth alone. So for you, I recommend oil pulling. I recommend oil pulling with sesame oil each morning or before bed, whatever you would like. Or you can use coconut oil if you'd prefer to use coconut oil. The other thing that I recommend as well is definitely brush with a soft toothbrush and brush the gums down very, very gently. I don't like mouth guards at night. I really don't like them. And here's why. They're finding now people who use Invisalign or other mouth-based devices and they keep them in for many hours at a time. Well, it makes sense, but it's allowing the bacteria to just fester. And that bacteria then can get right under the gums, and right under the gums go directly into your bloodstream, directly to your heart. This is a real thing. It's one of the number one reasons why if you start to floss your teeth, you have less of a chance for heart disease. And that's because the plaque doesn't build up and doesn't get then into your capillaries, into the bloodstream, and go to your heart. So that's my recommendation, and I can't recommend the Mouthguard. I really can't. Again, obviously in specific cases, could I recommend it? Yes, there's never an all-for-one answer. I just know that that's not the right answer for you. The right answer is figure out why you might be grinding your teeth, if you even are, and then from there, go about calming the body, because it is most likely a stress-based response. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Fawn's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for your amazing mission to share your wealth of knowledge with the world, including myself. The question is for my wife. She's been diagnosed with narcolepsy 5 years ago, anxiety, and situational depression. She has been loaded up with some high doses of medication. She has a history of endometriosis, abdomen pain, mood issues, and completed surgery for a full hysterectomy. She is a 20-plus a day smoker and displays addictive behaviors. I've been unable to get her to look at the underlying root causes and symptoms, such as gut linkages. She is definitely a complex case, and so far, all medical practitioners are simply juggling her between specialists. Nobody is willing to look at the whole picture. Help. I know a little, enough to think gut dysbiosis, leaky gut, SIBO, to neurological and hormone imbalances. What are your thoughts? Best. Thank you for your time and consideration, Vaughn. Okay, so Vaughn, I see from my, I have a really great podcast person who enters all these questions in, and this is from February 11th, and you're not going to be getting this till the end of April. So I apologize. I mean, these questions are now 6-7 weeks behind. I'm doing my best. I really am. I apologize. So here's the deal, though. I do want to answer this for you. And if you think about it, and I'm really happy that you put this in, when you're looking at abdominal pain and mood issues, I can't recommend enough. I can't recommend this enough. Doing an organic acids test, doing a stool test, and then, I mean, we have to do the whole battery here. I don't know if it's within your finances, but the Big Five, my Big Five lab tests, we give you a huge discount when you run all 5. I can't recommend that enough. I know that we can help your wife. I just know that you need to look at everything. Remember, high omega-6 to omega-3 levels. If you run the omega-3 test and you have high omega-6 levels, well, that's going to cause inflammation. And it's also been linked to lower mood. It's also been linked to higher levels of estrogen. So if we can bump up our omega-3s, then great. And then we balance that out. We can lower her omega-6 foods. And then food sensitivities also, they can cause brain fog and can cause seasonal affective disorder and mood-based issues. And then, of course, if there's low thyroid, so all of these things. So my Big Five is this. It's the organic acids test. It's the food sensitivity test. It is the thyroid hormone adrenal. It's the omega-3, and it's the hair tissue mineral analysis. And here's the nice thing. If I can then show the data to your wife, then she can say, oh, I guess I do have these imbalances. And then even if you wanted to, you could look them up yourself and you say, oh, yes, this is a real thing. Why didn't my specialist tell you about that? And then the first emotion is always anger. Your specialist, your PCP, and all these great people, why didn't they know about this? Why didn't they tell me that? That was my reaction before. But then you just let that go. You let that go and just say, it's part of the system. They would have done it if they had been taught it, but they've never been taught it. Luckily, there are other doctors out there, not just myself. You could find a really good functional medicine practitioner in your area if you're able to, a naturopathic doctor who specializes in this integrative approach. And the other thing is you don't have to work directly with me. You can run these big 5, and I'll link up the big 5. I'll put that in the show notes right now, big 5. And it's much less costly, meaning that you can get started right away. You can purchase those big 5. I still read them. I give you my recommendations, and you speak with one of my amazing health coaches, and we give you the answers that you need, because this is a total picture thing, like you said. We need to fix this at a foundational level, and that's how your wife will be able to get the help slowly but surely that she needs. Thanks, Vaughn, and I do wish you the best, because I definitely feel for you. All right, this question is from Allie. Allie's asking, hi, Dr. Cabral. I've been told by a functional medicine doctor that when we take supplements, vitamins, probiotics, et cetera, we're inhibiting the body's natural ability to create those things that we need on its own, which in turn makes us most dependent on the supplements. Is this true? She's big on fasting. She believes we could thrive on fruit only, as our primate brothers and sisters do. I have lymph stagnation. She put me on a 90-day detox with a bunch of herbs and told only to eat fruit. This seems quite extreme. Could you offer any thoughts? I know I won't stick to fruit only in the long haul, but is it okay for 90 days? Okay, so here's the deal. This is just not very good advice. And I hate to say that, and I hate to go against practitioners, but this is a practitioner who has an all-for-one approach. And an all-for-one approach will never work. You can't put someone on a fruit-only diet, especially maybe if they're more of the endomorphic type, without knowing what their blood sugar is doing. And also, you have to understand that if you can say more like our primate brothers, I can kind of get behind that. But here's the deal. Fruit is nothing like it was thousands of years ago, 100,000 years ago. So here's why. Fruit now is bred to be more sweet. So if you're on a fruit-only diet, are you mainly thriving off of like low glycemic berries? Or are you eating the bananas, which bananas now, they don't even have seeds in them. Like they're not the same type of fruit that they were many, many thousands of years ago. So I understand that there's lymph congestion. I agree. Like in my new book, The Rain Barrel Effect, I have a whole chapter just on detoxification. And what we talk about is doing rebounding. We talk about dry brushing. We talk about self-massage, all the Ayurvedic detoxes like Abhyanga. And so I agree with that. And then a 90-day detox, I'm not even sure exactly what she means by that. Typically, we do 7, 14, or 21 days, usually 21 days in your case. And the other thing is it's completely false about taking supplements and vitamins and probiotics and inhibiting our body's own natural ability, because that's like, it's just not true. We get our vitamins and our minerals from our food. So we do manufacture some of our own inside of the small intestine. I agree with that. Our body's not making these things on its own in abundance for the most part, okay? And when we're taking probiotics, what we're trying to do is create a floral balance in the microbiome. So when, like, for example, our daily probiotic support, it's meant to keep the small intestine clean. Like that's a big part of it. And we're putting in 50 billion. Keep in mind, your intestines are 100 trillion. So it's not like we're totally eradicating or moving things out. No, we're trying to help balance, especially with the small intestinal based strains. That's why we do that. So I can just tell you that, unfortunately, I just believe that, this is what happens sometimes. People only are willing to do the one thing that they've seen work in some cases. And I have no doubt that your practitioner, male or female, has seen that this worked great in a couple cases. But this would be very, very detrimental for many people. Now, maybe it works for you. Again, maybe it works for you. That's the whole thing. We don't necessarily know. But this is certainly not a very good long-term fix as well, because I've studied the diet of primates, because it made total sense to me to look at our bodies and chimps and what they ate. And the issue was this. They're predominantly only eating one fruit. That was a big thing. And it wasn't even bananas. It was figs. And they did still eat about 5% of their diet from meat as well. And that might be grubs and worms, but it also was other primates. So when you really look into it and you have no bias at all, which I don't, I don't care who's right. I honestly have no allegiance to anything. And they're like, oh, well, they ate some of other primates. And so again, we just have to be careful. We have to be careful when people are giving you surface level information, and that's really what you've been given. So I apologize about that. All right, Derek's up next. Derek's asking, hi, Dr. Cabral. Found your podcast a year ago and loved the helpful information. I recently had a red bumps break out on my neck. I believe it might be eczema. It's a flare-up from time to time and it gets a little itchy. I'm going to try eliminating gluten and eggs from my diet, as I know them to be common food sensitivities. What else could it be in addition to this? Thank you so much. All right, Derek, great question. And again, this one came in on February 12th. So I apologize about the delay. Derek, this could also be, and I want you to know this, I talk about this in my book as well, which, by the way, I know that I do recommend my book and I'm talking about that, but it's because I tell you exactly how people get sick, overweight, unwell, and then how to get better again. And also 100%, I just want people to know this because I want to get this book in everyone's hands. 100% of all profits from this book go to charity. So that's why I can feel great about recommending it, because then I know also the more people buy it, the more that we can then donate to charity. And one of the charities that we are donating to right now is called Vitamin Angels, which is an amazing charity that the World Health Organization recommended for 2 years, number one recommendation, 2 years in a row, to help women in developing nations get the vitamins they need for helping birth defects. That's why, in your last question, saying the body doesn't make them on their own is just incorrect. We know that women who don't get the proper amount of vitamin A or folate end up with children with birth defects. So, really, let's just go by the science as well as what we know. And it's just really get upset when practitioners, especially those who are supposed to be doing natural health, are only willing to look at one particular thing that they like. So, Derek, this could be, sorry, went way off on a tangent there. Sure, it could certainly be diet. And so you can look at what you ate the day before or 2 days before when you got that breakout. But it could also be, believe it or not, laundry detergent, okay? Or it could be dry cleaning. So just take a look at that. Is it when you wear a dress shirt or something like that you've had dry cleaned and then you get those red bumps around your neck? Or is it food-based? Yeah, gluten, eggs, dairy, any one of those. It could be corn, it could be soy, it could be bananas, it could be coconut. It could be anything, right? It could be anything. So if you can run an IgG test. So we ship these food sensitivity tests out literally to the UK, Australia, Canada, the US. Eventually, I would say by the end of this year, we'll ship them out to Europe as well. So here's the deal. That's what I would look at. But I would also look at toxicity-based issues. Did you put on a different cream? Did you put on a SPF lotion? Any of those things, because it could be an atopic-based issue as well, where you applied some type of cream. All right, let's get in one more question before I have to take off. I have to get my Uber and head off to the airport right after this. So Crystal's writing in, hello, Dr. Ball. My husband experienced a TBI, traumatic brain injury, after a near-fatal car accident in 2015. The accident caused some peripheral damage in his eye, some seizure, short-term memory loss, depression, migraines. Doctor says he won't be able to drive again because of loss of vision. I gave him magnesium, turmeric, multivitamin every morning. With that, he also takes seizure medication. Hesitant to stop the medications because of potential other seizures. Chiropractors are nervous to do adjustments due to the severity. With all the issues, are there any natural remedies I can implement for my husband besides the turmeric and magnesium? The main thing he wants back is his vision. Thank you so much, Doctor. Your podcast is so informative. Best, Crystal. Crystal, thank you so much for writing in. Actually, if you want to type in concussion or TBI into stephencabral.com/podcast, I've talked quite a bit about this in the past on the house calls. So tune into those shows because I'm not going to repeat all of that exact information. But what I would do is this. For your husband, I would run a omega-3 test. And what I would want to do is get him on, as long as it's appropriate, a higher dosage of omega-3s. He can get them from sardines. That's one of the best ways. I would, of course, use a daily omega-3 support, and I would use 3 capsules a day of that. These are just general recommendations. I can't give you specifics because, again, we're not working directly together or anything like that. And what else can I recommend? So there's some amazing things for vision as well. So omega-3s, you're doing the turmeric. I recommend the daily nutritional support powder. I recommend the daily fruit and vegetable blend. These are in general for great vision. Lutein, Lutein, and what's pronounced, I believe it's pronounced zeaxanthin, and that is Zeaxanthin. I believe that's how you spell that. Those come in almost every vision and eye-based formula because they're very powerful antioxidants and carotenoids for the eyes. And so that is where I would absolutely start. I would also begin some acupuncture. And I know I don't always talk about acupuncture, but that is something that I studied quite in depth when I was over in China at a traditional Chinese medicine hospital. And I believe that if chiropractors are not willing to do any type of adjustment, I would absolutely recommend acupuncture as well. And I would start there. So that is exactly what I would do. I would run that omega-3 test. I would use the daily nutritional support. I would use the daily fruit and vegetable blend. I would use the vision-based support, which is the lutein, the zeaxanthin, and then slowly progress from there. So hopefully that helps, Crystal. Thank you so much for writing in. Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of the Cabral Concept. I appreciate each and every one of your listens. I appreciate all of your shares. And thank you so much to everyone that has reviewed the Cabral Concept on iTunes. I read all of your reviews, and It truly means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Take care. And I look forward to speaking with you tomorrow on our Motivation and Mindset Monday. It's one of my favorite shows to date. Check that one out. Take care. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.